cortex. Okay, welcome everybody to the fourth Saturday of the month. It's our science call. Sometimes we call it the doctor's call. Today we're going to call it the science call. All right. And each month we try to come up with something interesting, something a little different, where we get out our pickaxe and we start digging a little bit deeper into subjects that relate to health and wellness and patches. So last month, I was on my own, just like today. And last month, I dug into the GHK copper. And today, the Spirit led me to look into digging deeper into water. And we know that every time David talks about patches, he always talks about drinking more water. And so we're like, so why is that? Because all of us need to drink more water, period. But what is it about water and the patches? So I wanted to dig into that a little bit deeper today. All right. So thank you for joining. Let me go ahead just for the caution of it and read the medical disclaimer. I'm going to read it this way. This information and the products discussed are not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Okay. So if you were pregnant, nursing, or taking medication or have a medical condition, please consult your physician first before doing anything. All right. So we just support the body's ability to heal itself. All right. So let me share screen and let me open this up, slideshow, and let's get started. Okay. So again, the subject that I chose for today is going to be about water and the importance of water in our lives and as it relates to patches. All right. So David Schmidt, to reiterate again, is always highlighting the importance of water with the patches. So when we think about water, we think about the fact that our Earth is a large container of water, 70% water on the planet. And when we look at humans, we too are 70% water. And so you see that we are a lot like the Earth that we live on. And so we call it like Mother Earth. So Mother Earth is a huge container of water, and our bodies are also containers of water. And as you see here, as we look at the human body, we see that our brain, 75% water, our blood, 83% water, heart, 79%, bones are not dry. They too are 22% water, our muscles, 75%, liver, 85%, kidneys, 83%. All living things are containers of water. So when we think about our brain, well, that's our computer that runs our whole body. What about our liver? That is a chemical factory and a detox organ. What about our kidneys? They too have the huge job of filtering metabolic and environmental waste out of our body. So when we think about water, we're going to want the highest quality, cleanest filtered water that we can possibly obtain. Prior to the call, Nina and I were talking about the fact that she's got a reverse osmosis system in her house. I do too in my house. And in fact, I'm thinking about getting one for the entire house. Currently, mine is just there at the sink for drinking water. But when we think about showering, I do have a filter on my shower to filter out all the toxicity coming there, especially the chlorine, the fluorides, etc., as we don't want to be standing in a chlorine gas chamber while we shower. So if we're 70% water, then we're going to want to make extra effort to get the cleanest water that we can. All right. I always recall David Wolf, who is a raw foodist out there, who talked about the system that he has in his home for water, and it was the greatest one I've ever heard of. It was, first of all, it was spring water, mountain spring water, and then he had, I believe it was copper pipes that would vortex the water and spin it as it came up and into his spouts. So he had like the greatest water system I've ever seen. And, you know, it make you almost envious of that system. So currently, if you have the ability to get natural spring water, like I used to get when I was in New England, I would go to the spring and get the water there. Excellent. If you're stuck in a city, do your best to get some kind of a filtration system, because as you see here, our body is loaded with water. Now, as we go forward in this toxic planet, as you see here on the left, it says water is life, and soon it may be more precious than gold. That is a true statement, because there's not that much fresh water on Earth as compared to seawater. So what little fresh water we actually have available currently, we need to keep it clean. And with the toxicity on the planet, more and more of our water is being polluted, and more areas are finding themselves in drought. As an example, I live in Idaho, and next door, California has always had a little bit of problem with their water. And if it was possible, they would tap into Idaho's water and use it as well. But as you see here, water is nature's medium and the greatest solvent. So water can pretty much dissolve any substance. And as you see here down below, the water molecule is a dipole. One side is negatively charged and the other side is positively charged, meaning that it can attract almost anything to itself. And because of that capability of having the negative and the positive charges, it can pretty much dissolve anything. Water can actually exchange information and can hold memory. So when we think about water, we don't want to think about just this lifeless fluid. Water is actually a living thing. It has the highest surface tension of any liquid except mercury. And of course, mercury is a heavy metal. But water has basically the second highest surface tension of any liquid on the planet. And in trees, if you think about it, with gravity on the earth, water actually is able to levitate against gravity and vortex up to the top of, say, a redwood tree 450 feet high and nourish the leaves of that tree against the force of gravity. And so there's some interesting science behind that that has to do with structured water. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. Water can actually carry energy. Water actually breathes. Hence the vortex and water going through a stream, a mountain river stream, oxygenates it and actually increases the ability of water to actually breathe. So think of it as a living substance, not just this lifeless fluid. It is a living substance that can react to external stimulation, as you see here from Masaru Emoto's images of water. When you produce external stimulation to water, as in speaking to it, the crystals of water can actually change. So as you see here, the word love on the left forms that beautiful crystal, and the word hate on the right causes this bizarre, distorted image. And there are many, many more images like this from this Japanese scientist's work, as if he plays heavy metal music versus, say, classical music, you get this distorted, ugly image versus a beautiful image. So water actually responds to external stimulation. And that just led me to another thought as regards EMF pollution. I've seen what water does when it's exposed to, say, 5G radiation or just flat Wi-Fi, and any EMF radiation changes the look of water chemically when you see it microscopically. So water is a living substance. In fact, if you take water and put it into a microwave oven and microwave it and then give that to your plants versus straight fresh water on your plants, a microwave water on your plants will kill the plant in short order. So water is a living structure. Now, what does water do for you? Let's take a look here. Water forms saliva. Now, when you think about saliva, it is where digestion begins in the human body. Hence, that's why you're supposed to eat slowly and chew your food better, because saliva has enzymes in it that will start to pre-digest food before you even swallow it. Well, saliva is formed from water. Then you have the mucosal linings in your body. You need to keep your mucosal linings moist, because mucus in the body traps and captures toxicity coming in. So the body can take toxins and wrap it in mucus. And there's a medical term out there for people that dry up. They call it Sjogren's syndrome, where all the mucosal linings of their body start to dry up. They get dry eye, their stomach is an issue, their mouth is an issue, etc. So staying hydrated is not a option. You must do it. Allows the body cells to grow, reproduce, and survive. Flushes body waste mainly through the urine. And we talked about the kidneys earlier and how important it is that the kidneys are able to filter. Lubricates our joints, which we're going to see later is highly involved in building synovial fluid with omega-3 oils for the joints. Water is a major component of most body parts, needed by the brain to manufacture hormones. Now, how important is that? Especially as you age, women getting into menopause, etc. Men also start to lower in their testosterone. Estrogens can raise. We need our brain to be fully hydrated to manufacture hormones and neurotransmitters. Regulates body temperature, as in sweating, thinking in terms of if a person has a fever and then the fever breaks, they break out into a sweat. And so you can't have the core temperature getting too high. So we need our body temperature to be regulated by being fully hydrated. Acts as a shock absorber for the brain and the spinal cord. We'll talk about that more later too. And is needed to convert food into nutrients via digestion. A lot of people don't understand that eating food, especially cooked food, takes a ton of water to convert it into a liquid. The body is essentially a juicer, and everything has to become liquid. Hence, if you eat a lot of cooked food, it takes even more water to turn that into liquid. Helps deliver oxygen all over the body. Of course, without that, your cells die and you're dead. So this is a small example of what water does for you. Now, this is something most people don't think about, especially the fourth phase. Most people don't know anything about this, that water is the only substance that exists in 3 stages, make that 4 stages. So you have a gas, you have a liquid, solid, and a gel, like Jell-O. think of Jell-O. So Jell-O is made from water and other things. You know, I don't recommend eating Jell-O, but Jell-O as an example is water-based. But you can poke Jell-O or cut Jell-O and the water does not leak out because it is in a gel-like phase. So it's the only substance ever that is in 3, make that 4 phases. And there's a whole study on that out there by Dr. Thomas Cowan and Dr. Jared Pollack on the 4th phase of water, which you're going to find out is the most important phase inside the body because it's highly, highly electrical and magnetic. So the gel-like phase is very overlooked, but highly, highly important in our body. It's highly electrical, and you can see how it works in harmony with the body's own light. So as you see down here, when you get to the gel phase of water, that's actually H3O2, not H2O, which means 3 hydrogen atoms, making it even more hydrating than just straight tap water or straight spring water. So I always remember this from Bruce Lee, where he had his famous phrase on water, where he talked about empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. If you put water into the cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water in the bottle, it becomes the bottle. If you put it in the teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. That's the famous Bruce Lee quote that, of course, he used as regards life and martial arts. But as you can see, water is a very, very interesting substance, and that it does actually become you, and that it saturates your body. And when you have water in the liver, as an example, per Bruce Lee thought, it becomes part of the liver. Now let's talk about water as regards plants, because whether directly or indirectly, we eat plants. And when we eat plants, whether it's through an animal, say a cow who ate grass, and then we eat the cow, we indirectly now are getting plant food via the cow, only it's second rate versus straight from eating the plant. But the plant, interestingly enough, pulls water and minerals from the soil. So a plant can take inorganic minerals from the soil, and it chelates it over into the type of minerals we can absorb. So we have no use for inorganic rocks. We get our minerals through the plant. So the plant pulls minerals via water from the soil, and then it pulls energy from the sun. So it's working with the earth, which is one large battery with negative ions. And then it's soaking up the rays from the sun, the energy from the sun, and it creates plant blood, which is called chlorophyll, and energy. And then the water in the chlorophyll and in the plant is structured water and H3O2. So then when we eat the plant, we're now getting the sun's energy from the plant. And that's why there was a whole study out there called the sun food diet, because we're literally consuming the sun's energy from the plant. Now, if you eat the animal, you're still getting it, but you're getting it second rate versus straight from the plant. You see what I'm saying? So it's an interesting way of getting energy, sun energy, from the food you eat from the plant. Because I will tell you, chemically, in structure, chlorophyll, the green pigment of chlorophyll, is almost an exact match, molecular match of human hemoglobin and blood. So plant blood and human blood, the chemical structures are almost identical. That's why some people out there, some of the naturalists out there say that humans are like upside down plants. And it's in relation to Mother Earth, which is 70% water, and we're 70% water. And in fact, Mother Earth's water is mostly salty, and the water in our bodies is mostly salty. So we're more like an ocean than a river. So we're very connected to the earth and the sun. So the only difference in chlorophyll and hemoglobin is that chlorophyll's center, its core, is magnesium, the mineral magnesium, and hemoglobin, the core, is iron. And chemically, when you eat chlorophyll, the body has this ingenious way, I believe the actual term is called nuclear transmutation, of taking the magnesium core in chlorophyll and converting it to iron in our blood. It's a brilliant mix. It's not unlike plants put out oxygen, which we breathe, and we put out CO2, which plants can breathe. And that's where we have this synergistic relationship with plants and the earth. But just know that the sun's energy, light energy from the sun, affects you and I via standing in the sun and via eating the food, sun food diet. All right? Because as you all know on this call, we emit light as well. So let's see now how energy and the energy enhancer patch that we use relates to you and I. So when we apply LifeWave patches to reflect our own light, we also use the water in our body to create the desired effect of the wavelength design of the patch. However, most people are in a state of dehydration, or their water is not clean, it's polluted. So when you talk to your people about LifeWave patches, and in this case, the energy enhancer patch, we have to understand that the energy enhancer patch is boosting ATP. That is energy. That is mitochondria producing energy in our cells. And there's a mineral balance involved. So inside the cell, we have the mineral potassium, which is the main mineral inside the cell in the water. So that's inside the cellular water, inside. Outside is sodium, like the sea, like we're seawater on the outside. Those two have to be in the right balance, and it creates this osmotic flow that's called cell respiration. And when the body forces water into the cell with a sort of a shower filter effect, the process of pressing the water into the cell creates a hydroelectric effect, which helps also create ATP. It's almost like, think of a hydroelectric dam system that they use for creating electricity. Something similar happens cellularly to you as well. So the mitochondria in the cell are producing ATP, but there's also a water portion to it as well. So you start to understand that the water in your cell is nothing like the water in your glass, because once that water enters the body changes the water and uses it in a different capacity. So if people want the ATP, the energy from energy enhancer patch, then to help the patch work better, we need adequate hydration. Okay. Now, when we get into the X49 and the X39 and the carnosine patch, we have to think in terms of ATP again, energy, that a lot of people don't understand that if you have an excess of energy, which doesn't seem a problem these days, everybody has fatigue. But if you have an excess of energy, the body will store it inside the cells and in bones. And if you were in a crisis of energy, as in starvation, the body can literally release excess ATP that was stored in the bones. So as it releases it from the calcium in the bones, you can get ATP, but then of course you now get brittle bones. But X49, we know, boost bone density. And X39 repairs and regenerates tissue. Carnosine is stored in muscles as well, skeletal muscle, right? And X49 is good also for physical performance, working with muscles. Well, muscles, if you're fully hydrated, are essentially just bags of mineralized water. Okay? So when you think of new blood cells being produced every 120 days, and we know that X39 works directly on cardiovascular system, making it younger, and that blood is mostly water, then you know that if you're fully hydrated, that X39, X49, and carnosine are all going to work better. Because carnosine also works on the brain. Carnosine can actually remove amyloid plaquing in the brain. And brain cells are 85% water. And dehydration will cause brain cells to shrink. And then you start thinking in terms of dementia, Alzheimer's, and these types of problems. So you're starting to see now that water and the patches, this is a good match. This is a good team. Even if we didn't have the patches, we have to stay hydrated, but we do. And the patches are age reversal strategy, right? So unfortunately, most people are drinking tea, coffee, alcohol, sodas, all these dehydrating liquids. Now think about it. Your body dumps a crazy amount of water per day, breathing, sweating, invisible sweat that you don't even see, digestion of food, urination, defecation. Your body is losing water constantly, lots of it. And most people aren't putting it back in. That's why if you start to eat more watery type foods, celery, cucumbers, grapes, melons, berries, apples, pears, carrots, foods with water in them, which you've already learned is structured water. This is why people juice. You know, there's a lot of people out there. I have people on our team that juice celery juice every day. That's just part of their protocol. And David Schmidt will tell you, start your day with 2 glasses of water. You don't start your day with coffee. You start your day with 2 glasses of water, preferably with some lemon squeezed in there and a little sea salt. Why sea salt? Because it causes the water to stick. So you stay hydrated longer. And so you see the dry skin, the desert here. Dehydration causes blood vessels in the kidneys to tighten. Well, just that alone can raise blood pressure. Well, we need our kidneys to filter. We need the kidneys filtering really good to filter out environmental waste, metabolic waste, etc. So if the body has to force the blood through the kidneys because everything is shrunk, it causes blood pressure to go up. It's the same with the lungs and the bronchioles, right? So Dr. Batman Gillidge, who wrote the book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty, talks about histamine being a warning signal, pain being a warning signal, headaches warning signal, constipation warning signal of dehydration. He said histamine, asthma, allergies, etc., is a tool by the body to regulate water in a dehydrated body. It's trying to preserve what little bit of water it's got. And it will constrict the bronchioles to try to hold on to what little water it has, hence asthma, because when you breathe out and exhale, you exhale a lot of water. So X39 repairs lung tissue. We know that. It repairs gut tissue. We know that with stem cells. But in a dehydrated state, it's so much harder. So much harder. So drink your water. Again, we don't want to be raisins. We want to be juicy grapes, right? And the problem is as we age, we start to become more dehydrated. It's almost like as you age, you want to drink even more water and eat more water foods. So again, per Dr. Batman Gillidge, he talks about aches and pains or another sign from the body stating you're dehydrated. You know, if you wait to have a dry mouth, you've waited too long. You've waited too long. So think of our ice wave patches. So ice wave patches are for pain, right? They're for pain. Well, dehydration, some of the signals of dehydration is pain. So think about as your body starves for water down to the cellular level, look at these stats. Cellular dehydration, 66% is from the cell's interior. We don't want that. That's where the mitochondria build ATP for energy. 26% extracellular. We're in the business of reversing age. We are 70% water, not 70% Mountain Dew, Pepsi, tea, coffee, alcohol. We are a water-based creature. Now, this image of a well-hydrated joint of the knee is from the study, Your Body's Many Cries for Water. And look at this amazing system. Joint movement, the movement of the joint causes a vacuum to be created within the joint space. Water, if it's available, is pulled through the bone and the cartilage into the joint cavity so that the two joints will slide over each other. All right, so now you're thinking in terms of osteoarthritis. How many people have knee replacement surgeries? It's like an epidemic. You have to nutrify the joint with water, and then of course there's synovial fluid, which is a lipid-based fluid with water. So yes, you're going to have your essential fats too. But as you see here in my notes, the Aeon patch, which we know works on autonomic nervous system, and the Aeon patch, which reduces systemic inflammation, as in taking the pressure off our adrenal glands, etc. Nerve cells are 85% water, and water generates a voltage gradient. What happens if you drop the blow dryer into the tub of water? Well, you will get electrocuted. Water is a voltage gradient. So we can help up the Aeon patch as well with water, because we want the water to be held in the joint capsule so that the joint will glide over each other without just ending up with this bone on bone problem. See what I'm saying? All right, now, lumbar back injuries. Lumbar 5, number 5, that's the epidemic. 95% of back injuries are down there. Now notice that the surface tension of water, as I mentioned earlier, is the highest of any liquid on Earth except possibly mercury, which is a heavy metal. But as you see here in this image, 75%, 2/3 of the weight of the upper body is supported by water. And then 25% is the fibrous material around the disc. When you sleep at night, if you're hydrated, water will fill the discs in your back, and you'll be a little bit taller in the morning when you get up. And then during the day, gravity shrinks you back down again. But you can see how important water is to the brain and to the spinal column. You see that? It provides the essential hydraulic support for the weight-bearing qualities of the disc. Once dehydration sets in, all parts of the body begin to suffer. The discs and the joints are the first in line. The fifth lumbar is affected 95% of the time. And you see here the paper clip floating in the water. You will see what they call the Jesus lizard walking on water. You will see water bugs running on water. They do not sink. I've also seen an image of water holding up a nickel in the glass of water. Water has a surface tension to it, and it's important in keeping your back strong and safe. Well, what do we use X39 for? What do we use X49 for? X49 will help with bone density, right? X39 repairs and regenerates all tissue, head to toe, universal pluripotent stem cells, correct? Now, in nature, you find the spiral formation in nature all over the place. Nature loves the spiral formation. And as you see, like here in the case of a tornado, as you see even in DNA, which is a spiral shape, you see that there's something special about this vortex shape. And in nature, as water goes over waterfalls, as water comes down out of the mountains into mountain streams, and it's running and changing in figure-8 shapes, etc., it oxygenates the water and energizes the water. So if you want to really get into it, you can not only filter your water, but you can get one of these water vortex type machines and super oxygenate your water, super energize your water for all the cells of your body to help our patches work better. So we can mimic nature by vortexing our water. Now, myself, I don't have one yet, but next week I'm ordering me a vortex machine. Okay. to mimic nature. Now, again, when you think about food, when you cook food, you cook out all the water. You cook out all the enzymes. And when you do that, digestion can use up 30% of our energy during the day and make you tired just to digest food. Now, I'm not saying I don't eat cooked food, because I do. But what I'm saying is be aware that when you eat cooked food, you want to stay extra hydrated, okay? Just know that when you eat the grape is mostly water, and it's easy on the digestion. So just remember that it takes a lot of water to digest food, especially if it's cooked. So just think about that, because we want to help our bodies work more efficiently and with less effort. But the main thing on this page is that water is a living thing, and we want it oxygenated and full of energy. So we humans emit light. We know that. So we are light-bearing beings. We are magnetic beings. We are electrical beings. But we are, when you get into quantum, we are mostly light. And I find that interesting, that you have on the earth all this water, as in the ocean, the lakes, the streams, etc. But think of the oceans, mostly water, and this sun shining these energetic rays down on the water. And you get these beautiful images of this glistening water with sunlight. So what about us? We emit light in a 70% water containing vessel. So think of that, and that if you stay fully hydrated with structured water, then it seems to me that you're going to be able to emit your light much brighter, because you can have a person who emits bright light and maybe another person whose light is dim. If their light is dim, the patches won't work as well for them. We want our light to shine brighter so that our patches work better. And one of the strategies is to have more structured, clean, filtered water in our body. And so just remember how many times David talks about drink that water with the patches. Correct? So when you think of water as a solvent, which can dissolve things, and we're drinking that type of water, hopefully it's like beautiful mountain spring water, and it's a solvent to break things down, to help get out the toxicity and the heavy metals. It breaks things down, loosens them up, so we can get it out of the kidneys and the bowels and the sweat. But then we have the structured water, H3O2, which is a gellular gel substance, jello type water, which is highly electrical. We're bound to shine brighter. So we got these different kinds of water all within one body. So think about that. So when we talk about shining bright, and we talk about Kirlian Photographs, which is a type of photography which measures the amount of light energy coming out of a person or a thing, you start to see that a well-hydrated person or food, in this example, it actually shines brighter. So you have the apple, you have the human hand, and this electrical storm you have a goji berry, which is a true superfood. So a lot of people use, they throw this term superfood around too much. But in the case of the goji berry, it is a true superfood. It can grow in high heat or high cool temperatures. It can grow in really cold or it can grow in really hot. And it's a fruit with 18 amino acids, making it a complete protein and a fruit. And it's highly, highly electrical. So think of yourself as a light being that we want to shine brighter. And a way to do that is add more water and, of course, minerals. How do you turn the electricity on in your house? Excuse me, how do you turn the light on in your house? Electricity. How do you turn the light on in your body? Electrolytes, minerals, electricity. Not from rocks, not from shellfish, from plants. Like we talked about earlier. The plant takes the rocks with water and sunlight and chelates those minerals over to the kind we can absorb. All right, so that, my friends, is my presentation on water and the patches. All right, so we got about 10 more minutes. Do we have questions or anything like that? Or comments?
Question. Oh,
go ahead. I see you, Kathy.
Kathy. What about Kangen alkaline water for different reasons?
So you know what?
Yeah,
so I had a Enagic machine for probably 10 years. And I love the thought of microclusters. I like the thought of higher absorption rate. I like the thought of alkalinity, right? And as you continue to learn and you learn more and you learn more, and then, you say, oh, okay, maybe that's not the greatest thing. Maybe I'll go this way. Now, the main thing, I remember Peter and I talking about this early on, that I'm not a fan of the alkaline machine filter. For me, if I want to get alkaline structured water, as we talked about today, I can get it all day long through watery foods, grapes, berries, melons, celery, cucumbers, peppers. It's already in that. My main concern now is the filtering, because even in your cleanest state, you're doing everything you can to stay clean. At any given time, you can have over 200 toxins in your blood. That's how toxic the planet is right now. And if aside from oxygen, if water is my second most important thing, I want it to be mostly filtered, as clean as possible, more even than the alkaline water idea, because I know I can get alkaline structured water in the food.
3 months.
Okay. Next comment or question.
Yes, I have a quick question. So sometimes I take various like naturopathic tests, and I drink a lot of water. I easily drink about 3 liters per day, which is a little more than my weight and size, which is because I get really thirsty. I do a lot of fitness, so I get thirsty. But I've been told over and over, oh, your test comes that like you're dehydrated. I'm like, how am I dehydrated? So somewhere the absorption is compromised. And what do you think? Where's that happening?
So you wonder about, like, say, and this is where her question about structured water is interesting, because tap water, the molecules of tap water, they're too big, they're too large. And so if I'm drinking tap water, without filtering or anything, I'm just drinking tap water, the molecules are so large, not what's found in nature, that it's like they bounce off the cells. And so you're not getting as much into the cell.
Yeah,
And so that's what I say.
I actually use a filter. I don't know if you know the Kinetico K5 is basically reverse osmosis, but then it remineralizes the water. And I've tried a variety of different filters over the years, but that's the one where the water doesn't give me any pain. Because if I drink regular tap water or bottled water, I just have all body pain. It's really awful. So
Yeah.
at least I'm not getting pain with this one, but I'm not yet getting the sufficient hydration apparently.
Yeah, so you're thinking in terms of, I wonder about the size of the molecule. So here's what I would do. And I do this every day now. In the morning, I've got my reverse osmosis unit and everything, and I have my 2 glasses, like David says, and I squeeze the lemon in there and put a little sea salt. You know, I'm practice what I preach. But then I will do my smoothie, say it's berries or grapes or whatever, blended, not juiced, blended, because I want all the fiber. And I just drank H3O2, 3 hydrogen atom, structured gellular 4th phase water that I know is more hydrating than just water. So it's like you're eating your water.
I heard about that. You get that somewhere, right? You buy it?
No, it's in the food.
Oh, I see.
It's in the food. So do this. Find Dr. Thomas Cowan,
Okay.
Cowan, or find Gerald Pollack, Pollock, and do that research like I did on water's 4th phase. That's the one we want for hydration. Because water coming through a mountain stream is a whole different animal from water coming through these goofy caustic pipes to your house. That water, that stagnant water, as we talked about today, water is a living thing with memory and can react to emotions like the word love and the word hate. And when it's coming through these pipes and through a water processing plant, by the time it gets to that tap, it's a whole different thing now. Whole different thing now. It's not the same anymore. So if you go to the food, organic, of course, if you go to that food, that grape, that's all water, 98% water, but it's loaded with what? Micronutrients, right? It's loaded with all those other little goodies that they know about and they don't know about, because there's known and unknown nutrients in that grape. That water in that grape is the most structured and the most hydrating water that you can get. So it's like you just do more of it.
I don't remember now where I saw this, but I recall this being like 2 years ago. That's why I don't remember the details, but they were talking about, I think they were talking about the 4th phase of water. It's like a special water you can buy that's much more
So
kind of pricey.
if you find that, then share that with me.
I will. Yeah.
I don't know about 4th phase water that you can buy, because it would be gel, it'd be in a gel-like substance.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, for example, if you blend in a NutriBullet berries, say you did a berry mix, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and a mix, and you add a little water, maybe 2, and you blend that. When you drink that out of that container, it leaves this gel residue all over the container. And then you have to rinse it out and clean it. That's the 4th phase of water. That's that gel-like structure. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's more hydrating. Like, you can drink molecular hydrogen tablets in water. So you drop that in the water and it bubbles all out and it released all this hydrogen, right? And you drink that and it, blasts away free radicals in your body. Like our reactive oxygen species, the real nasty one. Molecular hydrogen is a strategy against that. But when you drink that structured water in the grape, celery juice, whatever, you're getting it there too.
Gotcha. Cool. How do you said if I find it, share with you. I will find it. It's in my notes somewhere. How do I send it to you? What's your email address?
Let me see if I can. Oh, can you write it down if I just tell you?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So it's YGY, Savvy, SAVY, 1V, gmail.
Okay. thank
And
you
then
so
we'll
much.
share that because I was a little unhappy about doing this presentation today while everybody's in Mexico and there's other people doing personal trainings. Because usually we can have like 300 people on this call. Today we have 159. So I'm going to come and do it again later. I'm going to circle back around. I'm going to do this whole thing again because these calls take a ton of preparation, right? So you want as many people as possible to hear it. But if you find structured water that you buy, then yeah, I need to know about that.
Okay, I'll definitely let you know. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? We've got 3 minutes.
Hey, it's Patty
I
Ballin
have
here.
a
How you
question.
doing?
Patty? Okay, go ahead,
Hi.
Patty.
How are you? Okay, I was going to ask the question about alkaline water, but that's already been discussed. My question to you, has anyone looked at all the changes that's happening to our foods? Like I used to absolutely love watermelon when they had the black pits in them. And
Yeah,
I find the seedless watermelon today doesn't taste the same. And to
No.
me, I'm not getting the same value from it that I was getting before it was genetically modified.
yeah, it's getting more and more. It's like they're trying to genetically modify us.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
That's right. So all the hybrid fruits that don't have seeds, unfortunately, are a little higher in sugar.
Yeah.
They're a little higher in sugar. But
Yeah.
what I do is knowing that the sugar that's found in fruit and vegetables, mainly fruit, does not require insulin. So I don't have to
Okay.
worry about that too much. But what I do to hedge my bets with that is I'll take a sugar metabolism product that's got chromium and vanadium in it, 2 trace minerals that you have to have in order to get sugar into cells.
Okay.
Again, the minerals are like massively important, right?
Yeah.
Minerals and amino acids are massively important with our patches. So I'll take a product, the one I'm taking right now is called Sweet Ease, which has cinnamon and chromium and vanadium, and it's got like 7 different sugar metabolism products in there. Because you're right, you want the seeds, but good luck finding them.
I know.
Here at the co-op where I'm at, we do have them. We do have them. And so
Yeah.
whenever I find them, I buy them because truth be told is there's actually nutrients also in the seed. And
I used to
even
love
in-
the seed. I used
Yeah.
to love the seed. You know, as a child, I used to eat the seeds all the time. And my mother used to laugh and tell me I was going to grow a watermelon in my stomach. I love the seeds.
Well, look, some people take as a supplement, they take grape seed extract.
Yeah,
Right.
I've heard of that.
So,
Yeah.
so you want the grapes with the seed. Now, when you
Yeah.
eat the grapes with the seed, it's not as fun because the seed's in there and you got to spit it out, or you
Yes.
eat it. Right? But if I
Yeah.
take grapes with seeds and I blend them,
Yeah,
I'll just drink it. Seed, everything.
seeds
Drink
and
it all.
all.
Drink the whole
Now,
thing.
what about Concord grapes? The ones that you would just squeeze open and you would eat the entire inside of the grape, seeds and all. I used to love those too.
But
we
you
don't
want
have a
the-
lot of
but
Concord
but you
grapes.
also want the skin because
Yeah.
in the dark red grapes,
Yeah,
which is where
I
they
used
get,
to.
which
Yeah,
which
I
is the
used to
main
eat the skin
source.
as well. Yeah, I used to eat the skin as well.
Yeah,
I would
because
squeeze the inside. Yeah, I'd squeeze the inside out first, and then I would eat the skin.
that's where the resveratrol is in the skin.
Okay. Hmm.
Right. So, okay.
And you know
right.
what? And you know what? I've noticed none of my team is on here today. I'm going to forward this to everyone on my team. And thank you. It's been such a wonderful, wonderful educational. So,
Good.
you know,
Dr.
you did-
Foreman, just
thank you.
quick question about, we have our own well and it's too much iron. So we should have remove some of them because we drink water right from our pipe because it's good water, good quality, except iron.
Except
much.
iron, yeah. So do you have a filter?
Yes, we do.
And you still have too much iron even with the filter?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. I have to look at a better filter of some kind. They've got to have them out there.
Okay, and what is the level of iron should be?
I don't know what the actual level could be, because here's the thing with minerals. If you have too much copper, then it affects the zinc. Too much zinc, it affects the copper. Too much magnesium, it affects the calcium. That's why we want less isolates and more of, say, minerals in a mineral complex, like B vitamins. You want the B vitamins as a team.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe you can get away with doing a little extra B12 for a while. But for the chemistry of things, the chemistry works better together.
Yeah, I
That's why-
understand balance.
Yeah. So yeah, too much iron would throw off, let's say, possibly the zinc or the copper. Right?
Okay.
So, and then you get an imbalance, I mean, it's literally a full-time job these days.
Yeah, and especially to, all my stuff, in the toilet and sink, they just became irony. So I need to clean them all the time.
All right, you
Okay,
guys.
thank you,
So
doctor.
I hope you got something out of that you can use, and we will do it again next month. Okay.
Oh, this is great, great. Thank you so much. This is really great.
Okay, everybody. Enjoy your
Thank
enjoy your day, and we'll see you again. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Savvy.
Thank you, Savvy.
All right. Have a good one.